Hey everybody, good evening and welcome to session 9 of RM Truth Live. If you are joining us tonight and you want to chime into the chat, you can actually log in to the TWUBS chat below with your Twitter account, and you'll be able to watch the broadcast while you are in with the chat. So thank you so much for joining tonight. Be sure to introduce yourself to the group. Check in, let us know you're here. I've got such an amazing guest that's joining me tonight. She actually just had a power outage in her house, but we're going to be adding her in just a moment. We're going to be talking with Amber Wright. Amber is a speaker, communications and relationship demystifier, and she's also the author of Rock the Mic Right, 5 Simple Ways to Handle Public Speaking Like a Boss. This woman is, and she's phenomenal. She's an amazing speaker, just an incredible person to know. I had the pleasure of meeting her back in October at the Helm conference, at the Helm Women in Business conference in LA. And I had the chance to watch her speak, and I just knew that she had to be part of this show today. So let me see if Amber's able to join in now. And in the meantime, let's see who is joining us on the chat. We've got Ashley Littlefield. Hey, Ashley, nice to see you. You have to tell us all about your adventure so far. Where are you right now, by the way? And I'm going to check in with Amber really quickly and see if she's able to. She's gotten the power thing squared away. She called me and said, yeah, we just had a power outage. Maybe it has something to do with the unusual rain that's happening in Southern California where she is. We'll see. Who else do we have joining us tonight? Such amazing people. Last week was so awesome. We had San Diego representing a few people from San Diego, where I lived for a few months when I was jump-starting my adventures. There she is. Hi, Amber. Hey there. She's working it out, y'all.
All right. Hi.
Hi, Amber. So nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh man, I am so excited. So I've already have been gushing about you. I told everyone about how we met at the Helm, and man, it was just that's so wonderful. Just watching you speak and sharing your story, and I just knew, I was like, this girl has to be on the show if I could ever get this thing started back up again. And I don't know if you know, but Truth had been on hiatus since July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I had a few people asking me, like, girl, what are you doing? When is this chat coming back? You need to get it together. So
Well, that's fantastic.
And you are the first guest host in our new live video format. So
oh, nice.
It's really great to have you here. So we're going to get started in a sec. I just want to make sure I get to say hi to some people who've joined us.
Okay.
Ashley Littlefield. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to meet with Ashley, but she's so phenomenal. She is actually a retreat planning extraordinaire.
Okay.
Yeah, she and her husband are traveling the world right now. They're on a round the world adventure, and she's been a really great supporter of RM Truth. One of my best girlfriends. She's my best business girlfriend forever.
Aww.
Thank you so much for joining, Ashley. All right, so we're going to jump right in. Let me make sure I've got our cues ready. So Amber, and again, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Of course. Can you see me okay?
I can. Okay. So I think as we chat, it's going to kind of flicker back and forth.
Okay.
So yeah, let me know if it cuts out because it might be my internet connection. I hope not.
Okay.
So tell us, I did give them a little bit of a story about who you are and what you do, but tell us a little bit more about you and your biz.
Well, I'm the kind of person that loves to talk to people. I never meet a stranger. I'm always knowing, like, I've learned really quickly how to make friends when I was younger because we did a lot of moving around when I was a kid. And, little did I know that that would kind of help me to, I guess, discover the gift of gab. Like, I really do have it. I think that it's a gift to be able to talk to people. So, in college, I took a communication studies class and I did really well in it. And my teacher was just like, Amber, you're really good at this. You should consider the major. And her encouragement, or that just one suggestion, really changed my life. I got my bachelor's in communication studies and then my master's in communication studies with a specialization in interpersonal communication. And I just really love how communication integrates and permeates every aspect of our lives. So that's kind of how this whole thing came to be. It's what I live and breathe and enjoy. And I'm fortunate to be able to have my work be centered around something that I love so much.
That is, oh man, that's incredible. That's a whole lot of college, by the way.
Yeah, man.
Different majors than you. That's so cool. So how long ago did you get started with talktoamber.com?
I launched the website January of 2012. So I can't believe it's been that long. It's already been 2 years, close to 3 now. And when I began, it was just my opportunity. I've been blogging since 2007. And, nobody read my blog before. Like, my mother-in-law and 2 of my friends read my first blog. And then when I became a mother and I discovered that I was going to become a mother, I started my second blog. And I did that for about 3 or 4 years, maybe about 3 years. But I didn't want to be pigeonholed into just being a mommy blogger, so I wanted to create something that really reflected more of the whole me as opposed to just one part of me in motherhood, and that's kind of where, in part, how the idea of talktoamber.com was born. And I'm the kind of person, I'm like the resident advice giver amongst all my friends, so when people have a problem, they always be like, oh my God, I have to talk to Amber. Girl, I got to call you because we got to talk. And so that's where the name came from.
I love that. I love that. It's so amazing. So you started off as sort of talking about your experiences in motherhood, but then also just communication in general, like communicating, relating to one another, relationships, things like that. So when you got started, did you find that it was it pretty easy for you then just to kind of jump into creating content for your blog and to just have enough to say? I mean, I feel like when you have a blog, sometimes it's not always, at least for me, it hasn't been easy to come up with really great content.
No, you're absolutely right. And no, I wish I could have just snapped my fingers and all this content would have just appeared, but that was not the case. On all the blog posts are still there. You can go back and see, like, in the beginning it was, I had an idea kind of about what I wanted and what I wanted it to be, but I wasn't really sure, like, what's my voice? What am I going to say? And there's a lot of inspiration on the blog because that naturally just is an extension of who I am as a person. I really like to encourage people and motivate them, and so people were responding really well to that, and so I kind of stuck in that vein for a while, or stayed in that vein, I should say. But it really was like, I just feel like something is missing. And so I was talking a lot about communication and relationships because they do go together, as we know. But when I think about people who help other people with their relationships, like, I'm not a relationship coach. I don't talk about, like, dating exclusively necessarily. I mean, I do that on another website. I'm a contributor for a marriage website, so I write a lot about marriage in that regard. But I was like, something, when you just feel like, yeah, that's it, and the topics kind of come easily. I'm just now approaching that intersection, and Yeah, it takes time. It takes time, and it took time, and so I think I have great content. I mean, I really like my work.
Yeah.
But I feel like now it'll be much more purposeful because I have a better sense of purpose in what I want to say and how I want to say it.
Okay. And so, and that's, I love that you mentioned that because so our topic tonight, of course, is about creating momentum and finding your niche in business, which is
Hmm.
something that so many entrepreneurs, myself included, have struggled with and even sometimes still continue to struggle with. So, at what point did you find this sense of, I think I've got, I think I know what I really want to say. Like, how were you able to come to that place? What had to happen for you to start to understand where your voice was emerging from
Hmm.
just, I have some things to say to this is my message?
It really, I want to say like cars had to levitate off the ground and all this stuff had to happen, but I found that it all came to be when I identified what my target audience or who my target audience would be.
Mm,
That's like the number one question in business. Like, who's your target audience? What's your ideal client? Where do they
yeah.
live? Where do they eat? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And I had all these different things like in terms of writing content and things like for a book, for example, that person that I was speaking to didn't necessarily translate into the same person that I wanted my business to speak to. So I was
Mm,
really struggling with that. And that was the missing piece. That's what has been the missing piece all this time. Because I didn't know exactly who my work was for. And now that I know that, I swear it was like the heavens opened up and I just was like rainbows and butterflies were swirling around me. Like it was really that moment that I realized like, okay, this is it. And now my ideas do flow much simpler, much easier now because I know who it is. And that is specifically this community that I've been a part of for so long as a blogger and so my work. So okay, let me just to clarify and practice my whole elevator pitch situation here. So I am a public speaking coach for bloggers, creative professionals, and entrepreneurs because we need help, ladies and gentlemen. We need help with being able to articulate our messages and to grow our networks and expand our platforms, and which
mm.
ultimately will help us improve our bottom line. So all of that comes back to communication and what you say and how you say it. So I'm your woman to talk to if you
Absolutely.
need help with that. And I'm so excited. I feel myself smiling so hard because it gets me so excited now. So I'm
It's
here
a
to
big,
serve all
beautiful
of
smile,
you.
though. I am excited too. And what I love, what you just said, it's so true. We all need to know, how to communicate. It's not something that you're just born with. I mean, some people I think just kind of have the gift,
Yeah.
you know who you are. Um, so your voice or your message is very deeply tied to your personality. So you
Mm-hmm.
can articulate yourself well and you know your opinions and your ideas about things, so it's easy for you to present yourself. But then somehow when it comes to translating that into talking about what you do,
Yeah.
especially when maybe sometimes there's a little bit of fear or lack of confidence or some other things around what it is you're trying to do, it's just like, uh, I would,
Yeah.
I, I don't know, you just kind of get stuck. So
So
I love
true.
that. We definitely need you, and we
Oh, thank you.
definitely. So yeah. So I wanted to ask, geez, what was that? You mentioned this like clouds parting and cars levitating and the rainbows and sunshine on your face, and so was there any kind of process? Because I know I'm all about shortcutting processes and like trying to figure out what's the fastest way I can get through some kind of block or challenge or whatever,
Mhm.
and then how can I like create a system around it, like a process, so I
Mhm.
can tell other people to do it in half the time it is with me.
Mhm.
Um, but was there a process for you in in coming to this place, or did it really just have to unfold? What was it like?
No, no, there was not a formal process. I mean, honestly, I feel like that's what I've been doing over the last 2 years. So that's what I've been trying to figure out, like who this work would be for, and being able to shape it in a way and present it in a way that really demonstrates value. And so no, I can't say that there was exactly a process necessarily, but how I got to that moment of epiphany was I was asked to do a training. So like I told you, I write for a marriage website. It's blackandmarriedwithkids.com, and it's the leading and the largest website on the internet about marriage for African American families and parenting. And so the co-creators are Ronnie and Lamar Tyler, and for their staff writers, they have like a quarterly like staff meeting, right? So we'll get on a call for a webinar and we cover different topics. And Lamar asked me personally, would I host the webinar? Like, would I basically lead the staff training and talk about public speaking? And I was like, oh, of course, absolutely. And so I did that. And here's this community of about, there are probably about 20 people on the call. And I'm giving them these tips. I'm kind of basically walking them through this workshop on how to become better speakers. And one of the writers in that group, she took notes and she applied my tips. And she messaged me after, and she also shared in the group in weeks to follow how that moment was, I really helped her. And that's when it happened. I was just like, oh, that's it. That is who need me. My folk, my people, my writer friends, my bloggers, my entrepreneurs, they're the ones who need me, because a lot of times we start blogs just for the passion for the topic, whether it's mommy blogging or food or fashion or beauty or what have you. And then opportunities start to come, and then your blog becomes a business, and then you want to start speaking at conferences, and you don't have any idea where to go to get that help. People don't always have time to go to a community college and take a class, or they don't have the time to do Toastmasters, and all those things are great. But I didn't really see anybody in the online space who's offering that help and that service. And then so that was it. That was exactly how it all unfolded. And here I am.
That's amazing. That really is like a light bulb moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, geez, I love that. So, yeah. And you mentioned something though. You spent pretty much almost the first 2 years trying to find your niche and figure out your voice. Was there any one particular question you were able to kind of ask yourself and answer? I don't know if that's the right way to phrase the question, but
mm-hmm.
Just sort of thinking back on how you discovered that. What one question, I guess, might somebody be able to answer themselves? Apart from who's your target audience, is there a very specific question that someone can ask themselves about, like, how to get to that aha moment?
Yeah, I would say, how are you going to be of service? How are you going to be of service? I think a lot of us, it's very easy to start a business now. Anybody can be a culture consultant in one day. And, but if you're not seeking to serve and to really be helpful, then it's kind of for naught. I mean, really, we're all out here just, even when it comes down to a car salesman, for example, when you think of people who sell cars, it's, typically it's a man in a tie, and he's standing on the corner, and they're like vulture around you on the lot. But ultimately, there has to be that one salesman who really just wants to help you find the best car for you. Yeah, he might have a quota to meet, and he might have a certain amount of numbers that he has to, sales goal or whatever. But ultimately, when you cross the threshold of that lot, he's there, or she, to help you purchase the best vehicle that is right for you, that you can afford. That's being of service in that moment. And I think, so again, like you said, thinking beyond, well, who's my target audience? It's like, who am I here to serve? Who am I here to really help? And I think when you have a heart for helping, then the business, everything else just like kind of comes into play, and it all just comes together after that. The money comes when you have a really true desire to help people. When I talk to that writer, and just having that experience with her, of her saying like, Amber, this really helped me, thank you. Mm-hmm. That was it. And I was like, this is how I can use my gift to be of service and to be of help. I mean, so yeah, you've got to pay me for it, but right? You know,
Amen.
but to know that it's like when you go for people who go to salon and they get their hair done, it's like you pay for that service, but you walk out of there feeling like she or he helped me feel more beautiful than I already am. And so I endeavor to help bloggers, writers, and creative professionals and entrepreneurs be brilliant speakers and fearless speakers. So yeah, I think who are you, how are you going to serve is the question. Beyond, you already know now, this is my target audience. So definitely answer that question first, and that more powerful question right after that is, now how am I going to best serve them
Mm.
using my gifts, talents, and abilities?
I love that. And, that's something that I talk about a lot. I think for me, when I when I started my business, I was really just kind of in it for myself. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do work that served me, that felt good to me, that was fulfilling me. And I found that I really struggled. I mean, I got some good projects and clients and things were
Mm-hmm.
going well, but then things started to kind of drop off. And, I started to see a real turnaround in the meaningfulness of the work that I was doing and the
Mm.
connections that I was making and the kind of people that I started to attract to me into my business when I started to focus on not only what am I doing that fills me up, but then how am I pouring into other people? How can I
Yeah.
use what I have and what I can do and what I know to really serve other people and make other people's lives better and easier?
Yeah.
And I feel like, like that's what business is. It's
Mm-hmm.
about identifying a need and inserting yourself in the gap
Mm-hmm.
where, where others can't fill for themselves or others haven't quite filled, in a way that you can. So
That's perfect.
I love that. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so, is there any other advice then that you would give to solo entrepreneurs who might be struggling right now to find their niche and maybe a little bit discouraged and worried about how to move forward?
Um, I think my advice to them can only really be based on my experience. I mean, all of this really just happened very, very recently. And so just judging from my experience over the last 2 years, be willing to give yourself some time. It's okay to not have all the answers right away, but stay on the quest to find them. And I think it's very easy to get caught up in what other people are doing and whose blog is so successful and who's doing this and who's doing that. And it's hard sometimes because this marketplace is getting more crowded with people who are doing the same things that you're trying to do. And it's like, how can I be different? And just, remember that there's only one you. And just really be confident in the fact that you have something special to offer. And it might take you some time to really nail down who it is that can best benefit from your work. It took me 2 years. It might take somebody else 1 year, it might take someone else 3 years, who knows? But in business, there's no race. There's no race. So take the time because it's worth it to really identify that. Because then when you do, like I said, everything else just becomes so easy. Like now, I'm not going to say that the year ahead of me is going to be easy because I have a lot of work to do, but in work to do in trying to kind of like pivot in my brand and really have my work be pointed at this new kind of role that I'm embracing.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's going to be so much easier now because I know who it is that I'm talking to and who I'm here to help. And I'm fortunate that I just happen to be a part of that same community. I share those same identities as the people that I'm trying to help. So that also that helps me too, because then I can kind of also think as a client, like, well, what if I were struggling here? Where would I go for help, or how could I, who would I talk to, or what do they need? So that would be my advice. So just take your time. There's no race, and you'll figure it out. Just stay on the quest to learning and studying and being inspired by what other people are doing and taking the steps to make it your own.
That is amazing advice. Thank you so, so much. Oh gosh, I'm so glad we were able to chat. So now we want to turn this chat over to you. Amber has a few questions for you that I'm going to get posted over to the chat for you to answer.
Okay.
But if you guys have any questions for Amber, this is a good time to ask her now as well. So I'm serving up question one right now, which was, and Amber, do you have your cues
I
ready or
I don't,
okay?
because I had to change the equations really quickly in order to
No worries, because I know you
make my
had that
appearance.
power outage, that weird power outage. So, and we
Yeah.
were just talking about weird things happening I guess
Oh
they'll
my gosh. And you know, and really quickly, let me just say, I feel like between the webinar that I had last night and the technical difficulties I had yesterday and then the moment just now, that really must mean that what I'm working on and what you're doing is about to just like blow my mind, because the internet is such a hater right now and the power
It's
is
a
going out, and
hater.
I never have internet problems at home ever. But I just feel like now that I'm on the cusp of
Mm-hmm.
greatness, things are
Mm-hmm.
happening. So
It is
unfortunately,
okay.
I don't have them in front of me. So if you can help me out with that, that'd be great.
No worries. I've got you covered. So our first question is, what was or has been your biggest challenge with finding your niche in business? And oh my gosh, if I can answer that question. The funny thing is that for me, I thought I was sure. I
Mm,
started off really pissed off about the way that certain kinds of organizations were marketing to their so-called ideal customers. And
mm-hmm.
the thing that really frustrated me was that, it was just really kind of haphazard,
Yeah.
really off the cuff, last minute, no real concern about what people really cared about, what they really wanted to hear. At least, from where I
Mm,
stood, they didn't care
yeah.
about design. They didn't really care about branding or, anything about relationship building. They just decided that they kind of had the market cornered, not necessarily because of the value that they were creating, but because they had something that people needed that nobody else was really offering. And so it was really just like, we've got you by the cojones here.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like
Yeah.
sometimes. Like, you need us, so, you'll pay attention to what we have to say or you'll miss out, kind of thing. So, I really wanted to shift away from that. And so that's sort of what fueled me to start working for myself. But again, it was still from kind of a selfish, motivation. Like, I want to work with clients that I actually care about and who care about working with, but that was the extent of it. But yeah, so it took a while. And, I
Yeah.
went from wanting to work with organizations like that to wanting to work with local independent businesses, brick and mortar companies. That didn't work either. Uh, and just sort of bouncing back and forth. And, one question was always like, who do I know? It's like,
Yeah.
do I need to be specific to an industry? Do I need to be specific to a certain kind of business, a certain business size? And but what I started to pay attention to was, who I was attracting naturally,
Hmm.
like who just showed up, who was
Yeah.
filled with questions and seemed to just kind of naturally come to me for advice or answers, and not even really understanding completely what I did, but just knowing that, my work involved marketing and branding and all those things. And um, what I discovered was that, similar to you, solo entrepreneurs
Hmm.
are the ones who, so full of potential and
Yeah.
promise and all these things, but you kind of, we still need help.
Yeah,
And
we
so I
do.
knew that I
So
wanted to
much hope.
Yeah, and it's like, how can we, how can I, these are people, they're my people, I identify with them, how can I serve, the people who really are just showing up and saying, look, I know you got something that I need. I might not
Yeah.
be able to, to work completely one-on-one yet, but I would like to talk to you, kind of thing. And so that's sort of how I started to shape my services and things around, around them. So solo entrepreneurs. Um, oh, okay. We got an answer from Ashley. Yay. Ashley says, figuring out what I can do for people that are actually willing to pay. Okay. So it's kind of hard to read this thing because my chat window is not wide enough. Sorry, Ashley. We'll
Okay.
start over. So her answer was figuring out what I can do for people that they are actually willing to pay for that
Mm.
still makes me happy. Oh man,
Mm.
that's
Wow.
yeah, that's tough. That's because you kind of I hear you, Ashley, because you're kind of looking at like, okay, there's this group of people out there that I really want to serve, but those people might not be willing to pay for the services, um, which was kind of something that I struggled with the solo entrepreneur community, especially, with a certain kind of struggle, which I'll talk about in a later chat. But it's like, how do you really want to serve these people, but they're not necessarily ideal in the sense that they're not the ones that are buying what it is
Yeah.
that what you're putting out there. And then there's this other group who needs something, who needs what you offer, but in a different way. And those aren't the people you love, So it's like, how do you find balance in that? And, what can you do? Are you going to try to serve both audiences? How do you manage that?
You
I
know,
love
I mean, that's a really good answer. And I think a couple of things came to mind as you were sharing what she said. And that is hard. And so one of the things that came to my mind was that a lot of times when we engage in the circles that we're in, you like you said, you kind of attract like-minded people. And we talk to coaches all day and people who kind of do the same type of stuff that we do. But really, there's so many more people who don't even know anything about how to start a blog, how to start a business. They don't know what Hootsuite is. They don't know what SEO is. And so we kind of take for granted that people out there know what we do because it's what we do every day. And that's not the case. There are still millions of people out there who have no idea how like some of these things go. And I think kind of seeking those people out and thinking like a client and not so much as a content provider or content creator, I think may help in kind of figuring that out. So that's like the one thing too, is just knowing that when we get in these circles and we kind of engage with these people, they all know the lingo, they know the jargon, but there's people out there who don't. And so we have to kind of come out of our circles and then go and find those people. And then the second thing that came to my mind too was that kind of made me think about this, like when people work, when you're a workpreneur, like I've been for so long, you have a job that pays your bills and then your business is what serves you. I think it's okay if you still need to have a job or doing something, whether you work from home and, something that's a little bit more traditional, while you're still trying to work on your passion, being a passionpreneur. It's like insert word here in front of preneur, whatever type of entrepreneur you are. It's okay to try to still make money in another way while you're working to figure that out. I mean, I've had a full-time job while I've been working. What'd you say?
Especially because you need to eat.
That's
While
right.
you're figuring it out, you still need to eat.
Absolutely. And until you can find that niche group of people who do want to pay for your services, and who can and are able to pay for your services, then you still gotta you gotta get them checks together so that way, like you said, you can eat and pay your bills and manage yourself while you're still working to build your passion. And sometimes it's so hard because we want it so bad and we want it immediately. We want our businesses to be successful overnight, and I want to be free and travel the world, do all this stuff, but that takes time. It takes time.
Indeed. And especially when we see people who it seems like they did not exist yesterday, and all of a sudden they're these big internet stars, and they're selling out their courses. We were talking about one person in particular who just showed up on the scene and was like, boom, I just sold a $50,000 course. Like, what? Who are you? How did you do that? And so of course you're thinking like, well, why can't I do that? And I think it also is kind of scary, when you get into that comparison mode, because it's just like, well, shoot, what do they know that I don't, But sometimes it just takes time. And if you're in it for the long haul, if you're in it to win it, so to speak, then, your commitment's got to be just as strong and understanding. Actually, that's something that we talked about in, I think, the very first RM Truth session was, this concept of surrender and surrendering the fact that it might not happen right away. It might not happen for a long time. And you just have to trust that, what is going to work out will, and, consistent action and investing in, in yourself, and just constantly pursuing what it is that you want to be doing. It's the only way you're ever going to get there. So, Ashley, you are the bomb girl with your responses. And so Ashley says that in the last 6 months, you're actually answering my second question. I'm just going to put it out there. Well, Amber's second question, which is, after how many weeks, months, or years did you finally start to figure out your niche. So Ashley actually sort of answers that. She says,
Okay.
it's really easy to forget that. Oh no, I'm sorry, wrong one. In the last 6 months of the year of 2014, I had an epiphany similar to Amber, and pivoted from travel planning to retreat planning. Yeah, that's something too. I think that we kind of talked about was like, you pivot, right? So,
Yeah.
you kind of start off in one direction because you have this idea and it's great and it makes sense for, what you like and what you're interested in and what you know and what just kind of comes naturally. But then you start to think about, okay, well, I am in this business to make money too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how can I pull that into the equation as well? So that it still does make sense for who I am and it still feels like something that's not a complete departure from what matters to me. And yeah, like it kind of just it took me almost 4 years. I will have been in business um, 4 years on March 1st, 2015, and it's taken up until this year to really get solid about. I mean, I've known for a very long time who I wanted to serve, but how I was going to be able to
Yeah.
serve them in a way that was sustainable for me. It just I really struggled with it, but the minute that it clicked for me, it was like, okay, this is it. This is what I was supposed to be doing. And so actually, that's something. Oh man, I can't wait. This is going to be a fun discussion in a later chat about figuring out how you can serve the people you really want to serve, but in a way that's actually going to create value for you instead of you having to just give up a lot. Like you're in
Yeah.
business to make money.
And that's like that's also what Ashley was saying about being really specific and kind of what you are affirming. That's what I tell my students when when I teach my public speaking students. They'll say, okay, well, I'm going to do an informative speech. Okay, and what is your speech going to be on? My speech is going to be on football. Okay, well, what about football? You have to really get specific. You make a statement. Football is the most amazing sport ever. Okay, why is that? And then you start to kind of work, or we'll do like a brainstorming activity at the beginning of class when we're talking about selecting a topic, and we'll go somewhere really broad, or somebody will always shout out like music. Okay, what about music? And then we start talking about the different genres of music and bands versus digital, and like then all these other topics kind of start to spring to life once we start really brainstorming and thinking about it, and then we whittle it down to that one key thing that we are going to discuss. And when I did this exercise just this past semester with a student, he wanted to do football, and then kind of doing this whole brainstorming activity, he decided to do his speech on the Super Bowl, specifically as a game. And so he talked about the marketing behind it and how it's like, all the millions of dollars for the ads. And so it was a really great speech because he was so much more clear on what exactly he wanted to say. And so the same thing is true for our business. The more specific we are about who we want to serve and how we want to help them, then that's when we have a little bit easier time. And it feels more pointed because it's like, oh, well, I just want to help everybody. And it's like, or I just want to help entrepreneurs, for example. Well, there's a variety of different types of entrepreneurs. So what kind of entrepreneur are you going to serve? Like me, I like bloggers and creative professionals who like do hair or stylist or whatever, because we all need skills, to grow our businesses. So
Very
yeah,
true.
I just wanted
Very
to add
true.
that comment.
I love that. And so it's something that you mentioned earlier when you were telling us about the person that came to you after you did your presentation, your public speaking presentation to the group, and it came to you, was like, man, that really helped me. That is so, that was amazing. Like, you really helped me so much. Thank you. Like, the moment that it all kind of clicked for you and made you realize that this is the thing and these are the people that you need to be focusing on. And so that's something that, I would like to ask people. I was like trying to silently type this question up because it just came to my mind. It was like, what's one thing that you've done that people have said has really helped and served them? And that's a really solid way, and you mentioned this earlier, that's a really good way to gauge, especially if it's something that's really related to your interest and what you're trying to do anyway. It's like, what is something in particular that maybe someone was struggling with, that you were able to teach them or show them that really helped them or served them. So I'm going to post that Q in there and see who's able to respond. Ashley said, oh, wow. She said the pivot that she was able to make in her business from travel planning to retreat planning has resulted in 30 leads without having to do any sort of marketing at all.
Wow.
That's what I call the joys of
Absolutely.
entrepreneurship.
Ashley, you got to share your secret.
I know, honey. Share that secret. Yeah, that's something. Oh, man. And I love being able to share stories like that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Ashley. I'm going to retweet that. Make sure people know. Woohoo! So, yeah, on this show, we talk a lot about like challenges and struggles and the hard stuff, but I definitely also want to promote like the joys and the triumphs. It's like we are, we're building something incredible. We're changing the world. We're changing people's lives, and it's hard. I think there's some of the greatest resistance that we'll experience, especially, in the more beginning stages of our businesses. It really is how would you say, a gauge on the amount of power, that we're going to have on the other side of that. You know what I'm saying? Like the greater the resistance, and I believe there's a quote out there, I have to find it, but the greater the resistance, the greater the power, on the other side of that. And so if we can just be diligent enough to push past that, so many amazing things can happen, once we get to the other side of that.
I agree. That's a good quote.
So we're still looking at one more response here.
Okay.
But I'm looking at our time, and it never seems to be enough time. We're already at 12 after 10. Oh, man. And I don't know if you will have another couple minutes just to hang out on the Twitter chat after this. But we don't want to keep people too long in the video. So,
okay.
Amber, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Insight and, for telling your story and, being honest. That's what we're all about here on Armed Truth Live. And if anybody has any questions for Amber, maybe wants to hear more about her personal journey in entrepreneurship so far. And actually, Amber, I wanted to ask you, what are you up to right now? You mentioned making this shift in your business. So do you want to tell us what you're up to right now, what you got cooking up, and how can we stay connected with you?
Oh, of course. I am, the year is winding down, and I'm preparing for the new year just like everyone else. And I'm going to just drop an exclusive here, if I may, and tell you that I'm working on, in light of this whole new epiphany, right, and knowing who I want to serve and how I want to serve them, I am opening the doors to what I'm calling the Conversation Studio. And that is where brilliant bloggers become fearless public speakers. So yeah, right.
That sounds awesome.
In the studio, it's a course. It is a 4-week course that is designed to help bloggers and creative professionals and entrepreneurs figure out the nuts and bolts of having a presentation, and what do I say, how do I come up with a topic, how do I deliver it without saying and all the time, how do I organize it and present it and prepare it, or present it in a way that is effective, and how can I be more engaging as a speaker. All of these very pressing questions that people tend to ask me, I'm going to answer them all in a course. So I am really working very, very hard on trying to, again, put my best foot forward with creating valuable content for my future Conversation Studio students. So if anyone is interested and they feel like that's something that they want and that they need, I want to send you over to my blog, and you can just head over to talktoamber.com, and on the homepage sign up for my newsletter. I call it my chat mail. Signed up for my chat mail, and you will be the first to know when I actually open the doors to the studio. So that way, and this is online, it's virtual, so it's a virtual studio. But I'm really, really excited, and I think that this is going to help a lot of people be able to walk away from taking this course with even maybe their signature talk, or how to create it, and how to, again, present yourself in a way that is effective, and pitch to a conference and really go and nail it. So that's what I'm cooking up right now here in these final months of the year, and I hope to get that out very, very soon, at least at the top of the year at some point. And yeah, so if anyone's interested, or you can, so like I said, you can just visit my blog, talktoamber.com, or my website, and enter your name and email, and you'll be on my list. So when the doors to the studio are open, you will be in line.
That's amazing, Amber. Oh, that's so exciting. Oh, man, I'm going to get on that list.
And nobody else knows about that. So that is the RM Truth Live exclusive. Hey.
So amazing. Okay, RM Truth Live exclusive. Guys, get over to talktoamber.com. Sign up for her chat list. I'm going to include a link below this video in the recap so that you're able to check it out as well. Amber, thanks again for joining us. I hope I'll see you on the Twitter chat a little bit after this, but I hope you have a wonderful night and enjoy the rest of your week. And we're so excited to see what's coming for you in 2015. I know it's going to be amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. And again, thank you for having me, and for just reaching out and asking me to participate. I love this kind of stuff. I love to see women come together and support each other and push each other towards greatness. So thank you so much for having me, RM.
So wonderful. And hopefully you'll come back and spend some time with us.
Of course. I mean, hello. Of course.
All right, my love. Have a wonderful night. And thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.